the king, the roads, and the first pair of shoes. Long ago, there was a king who ruled a large and prosperous kingdom. The land was wide and beautiful. There were high mountains in the north, green forests in the east, long rivers in the west, and rich farmland in the south. Many people lived and worked across the kingdom, growing food, making tools, and raising families. The king was known as a strong ruler. He protected his land from enemies and kept strict laws. Many people respected him, but few truly knew him. The king lived in a great palace made of stone and marble. The floors were smooth and cold. Soft carpets covered every hallway. Servants cleaned the palace every day. The king wore fine clothes and lived in comfort. His feet almost never touched the ground outside the palace walls. As the years passed, the king began to feel uneasy. He had everything, yet something felt missing. He ruled the kingdom, but he did not truly know it. He heard reports from ministers and officials, but these were only words on paper. They did not show real life. The king started to wonder about his people. He wondered how they worked, how they walked, and how they lived each day. He wanted to see the kingdom with his own eyes. So the king decided to travel across the land. He chose to go without his crown and royal clothes. He wore simple garments and walked like an ordinary man. Only a few trusted guards followed him from far away. The journey began early one morning. The king walked through small villages where farmers worked under the hot sun. He saw people bending over the land, planting seeds and harvesting crops. Their hands were rough and their clothes were worn, but they worked with care. The king continued walking. He crossed long roads made of dirt and stone. Some paths were narrow and steep. Sharp rocks cut into the ground. Dust filled the air. The king felt tired, but he continued. As days passed, the journey became harder. He climbed hills where loose stones slipped under his feet. He walked through forests where roots rose from the ground like twisted ropes. He crossed bridges made of old wood. At night, he rested in small inns or simple homes. During these nights, the king listened quietly. He heard travelers talk about their lives. He heard merchants speak of long journeys. He heard farmers talk about hard work and sore feet. The king said little, but he thought deeply. At first, the king felt proud. He believed he was strong. He believed he could endure the same hardships as his people. But soon, pain began to grow. His feet became sore. Small cuts appeared. Blisters formed and broke. Every step on stone felt sharp. Gravel pressed into his skin. Walking became slow and painful. Still, the king continued. He did not want to stop. He wanted to understand his land fully. When the journey finally ended, the king returned to his palace. His body was tired, and his feet were badly hurt. They were swollen, red, and bleeding. Anger filled his heart. He believed the roads were cruel and unfair. He believed no one should suffer like this. The king ordered that all the roads in the kingdom should be covered with soft animal leather. He believed this would protect everyone. He believed this was the best solution. But the order caused fear across the land. Covering all the roads needed many animals, much labor, and great cost. Farms would lose animals. Workers would be exhausted. The treasury would empty. People worried, but no one dared to speak. The king was powerful, and his word was law. One day, a humble servant began to think carefully. He worked quietly in the palace. He cleaned floors and carried water. He was not rich or educated, but he observed carefully. He saw the king's pain. He saw the fear of the people. He believed there must be another way. The servant understood something important. The problem was not the roads. The problem was unprotected feet. The king began to think deeply. Slowly, his anger faded. He realized the truth. Changing all the roads was too costly and unnecessary. Protecting the feet was simple and wise. The order was canceled. Skilled craftsmen were called. They worked carefully with soft leather. They shaped it to fit the human foot. They stitched it with care. Soon, the king wore the first pair of shoes. He walked across stone floors, dirt paths, and rough roads. This time, he felt no pain. The solution worked everywhere he went. Shoes soon spread throughout the kingdom. Farmers, travelers, and workers wore them. People could walk farther and work longer without injury. But the greatest change was not the shoes. The king learned a lesson that stayed with him for life. Power did not mean forcing the world to change for one person's comfort. True wisdom meant understanding the problem clearly and choosing the simplest solution. The kingdom became stronger and happier. The road stayed hard, but the people walked wisely. Sometimes, life does not need the world to change. Sometimes, we only need to change how we walk through it.